What's up, YouTube? It's your friendly neighborhood GM, your host, Coach Key, and welcome back to Legends and Dice Cafe, where we learn about tabletop RPGs from old school to modern and do lots and lots of solo gameplay. Back with my weekly video like I do on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In today's video, we're going to be doing a solo playthrough of Ker Nethalas. I am picking up my adventure and I'll show you how to play along the way. As always, don't forget to make sure you hit that thumbs up button so YouTube will push it out to more and more people. And if you'd like to further support the channel, hop on over to Patreon and subscribe to Legends and Dice Cafe. If you'd like to join a game with me, I will post my Start Playing Games link in the description. Oh, and I have a very small Discord community. If you'd like to join, I'll put all of those links inside of the description. And without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into some gameplay. Let's do it. My character's name is Blackfoot T, and it comes from the tribe that he's from. He was sentenced to death and executed and thrown into the necropolis, thinking that he was dead, but he ended up surviving. His crime was that he was breaking into people's houses and he was being violent with them. So they executed him and threw him down into these tunnels, this dark, dreary place, dangerous place called the Necropolis. Ker Nethalas is a single-player solo or co-op dungeon survival game. So again, like I said, we're going to learn along the way. I've got these two special abilities right here. They're called masteries. And I was confused before, but these cool, fantastic, awesome player aids that are on blackoathentertainment.com. These are fantastic. So on this cool reference sheet right here, it did let me know that I get the passive ability as well as the tier 1. So I've come into this room right here and I've encountered this monster. It's called an unfettered familiar. First thing we do, we're going to figure out the initiative order. And right here came from the description of the room, and this is supposed to be some sort of shrine right here. So maybe we'll investigate this a little bit more after we deal with this battle, and then I'll show you a little bit more about the game. We're going to use this cool sheet right here, this exploration guide. So initiative is determined by pitching your perception versus the target's awareness. Our target is going to have a +20. So when you find out who the overseer is, the overseer has some sort of influence on their minions, and the influence and what I rolled on as far as the overseer's influence is that they have a +20 to awareness, which of course does not work in my favor. And it says that whoever wins gets to act first until the combat is over. And let's see, my perception is 40. I get an advantage on scavenger checks and perception checks. I'm going to let my guy roll first. So they got a 97, and with the extra 20 that they get, plus their awareness, okay, they still failed, so they would get an 80. And then I'm going to roll. All right, so I'm going to attempt to attack them with a bladed weapon. My bladed weapon is 60, so I have to hit 60 or below in order for it to be successful. So I got a 6. So that is definitely a hit. But this guy, he also gets an opportunity to dodge. So the attacker is going to go based off of their combat skill in order to, I guess, defend. And they got a 15 and they got it. They beat it as well. Not only did they get below, but they got the highest. So now it is on this guy right here. Nothing. So it doesn't hit because he was able to effectively defend himself against my hit. So now I'm going to roll on him. It is on the bad guy. And I'm going to roll the D6. So it's going to be 3. So ethereal, grasp. Unfettered familiar extends his incorporeal form to touch a target. The target must succeed on an endurance check or be blinded for 1 minute. So I'm going to do that endurance check. When the attacker was attacking me with the magical effect, I should have rolled against my magical resistance. So we'll do that next time around. So correction. Sorry about that. Now, so this one he got a 3, and this one is going to be magical right here. I'm going to roll to see if I'm blinded. Where's my endurance? My endurance is, holy crap, my endurance is a 10. All right, so I got a 6. So I'm not blinded. So now it's my go right here. And I'm going to, again, attack them with my bladed weapon. Maybe I should do the infernal. Let me see. 20. So my infernal flame. So as a standard action, spend 4 aether. Your fist bursts into green-red flames as you send a burst of fire to your target, dealing d6 plus d4 infernal damage. I'm going to use that, so that puts me down to 7 Aether, and I'm going to use my Infernal Flame. He's going to use his magic resistance. Let's see, his magic resistance is a 40, so boom, and he got 100. Ah, sucker. Now, there is a damage table. Right here it says that I get to roll a d6 and a d4, and I'm going to show you. So right here you have a damage table. If an attack managed to hit, which mine did, the attacker rolls damage and compares the result of each die to the damage table. So I got a 6. I'm going to deal 2 damage. The next thing would have been to roll on the hit location and then the damage. So we've got the damage is going to be 2. They're going to take in. So now we're going to roll on the hit location. So I'm going to roll a d20 on this humanoid right here. And I got a 9, so I hit the abdomen. Because they do have a weak spot. And when you hit that weak spot, okay, their weak spot, okay, they are humanoid, of course. It says head. So he did that right. So it hit their abdomen. So it's going to do 2 damage to their abdomen. And let's see, and their health. So now they're down 2 points. So let's get it. Now it's going to be on the bad guy. He's going to roll a d6 to see exactly how I'm going to attack, how it's going to attack. So it got a 3, and that's going to be that ethereal grasp. So now I have to roll an endurance check. I got a 1, so I'm able to resist that grasp. So now it's going to be my go. I'm going to, so since my Aether, let me see. So all Aether recovers after entering a new room. I'm going to go ahead and, since that happens, I'm going to use another 4 to do that. Abysmal to do that infernal flame where that fire bursts from my fist, and I'm going to take this down again, and that's going to put me at 3, so I won't be able to do this again. Now this guy right here, he's going to try to resist my magical blow, and he got a 52, and his magical resistance is a 40. I'm going to do that d6 and that d4 for my damage. But first, we're going to see what location it's going to hit them at. We'll roll our d20. So we got a 14. And we hit them on his left arm. And we're going to roll our damage. My bad. Knock him down before he even got hit. So that's going to be a 4 and a 4. That's going to be an 8. So this should be a pretty decent hit. So it's going to do 3 damage, which completely wipes it out because it only had 2 health left. That's awesome. So I'm going to write that down because I do think that I get some XP for that. Wonder if he drops any type of treasure. So as far as spoils, we're going to check out the spoils table. So we're going to roll a d6. And we got a 1. So now we get to roll on the mundanes items table. That's going to be a d100. So we got a 27. So we got a belt. Okay. Also, I didn't do was a scavenger check. So right here, each time you enter a room, you can make a scavenge check. If you pass, you roll on the scavenging table. Now, if you get a fumble, that works against you. So our scavenge is only 20. But we get an advantage on that as well because of one of our masteries called the tracker. So we got a 70, and if we turn this around, so either way it fails, so we don't find anything. So we were going to check out what this shrine was right here. Just going to play around. We're going to roll on the events table and see, as we're kind of scoping this shrine out, if anything possibly happens. We're going to use the events table. So we got 59. Strange ghostly flames seem to move randomly across this room each time you enter it. You must pass a dodge check or be struck by the flames, losing 1 insanity. So I'm going to say that this shrine right here, as I'm kind of snooping around it, maybe touching it, once I touched it, these ghostly flames, it activated these ghostly flames moving in and out of the walls. And them moving in and out of the walls as once I see them, I'm going to say that I'm going to run this way towards this area right here so I can exit this room, and I'll go ahead and make a dodge roll. My dodge is a 40, and I got a 37, so I'm able to flippity doopity doo dah dee to determine if the door or container is locked by rolling a d20. So a result on a 12 plus means that it is locked. So it is not locked. So I'm able to get through this area right here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll to see if we walk into a corridor or if we're walking into another room. So I got a 90, I got a 65, and that is going to be a room. And here's what it looks like here. Once I enter this room right here, now we're going to do the room description to see what it looks like in here. So we're going to roll a D100. So we got a 74. Oh, we didn't check for traps. Check for traps. D10, 7 plus, there's a trap. So we got a 4. There is no trap because it's on a 7 plus that there's a trap. So there are no traps. Now we're going to roll on the room description. Now I'm going to re-roll that room description because I forgot what I initially had. So I got a 36. Let's see. A still black pool reflects the darkest aspects of one's soul, showing the horrors hidden within. But I'm going to put this, say this area is going to be right here. I see this dark pool right here. I'm not sure if I'm going to explore that dark pool. I'm not sure if I would ever explore a random dark pool that I see in a tunnel in the necropolis. I'm going to say that I'm going to get a little closer. We'll see how we play that out. We'll see where we go with that. Next up, we're going to do our tension check. So our tension check, so what happens is we start at a D8. Once we get to a 1 or 2, then we're going to go to a D6. And then once we get to a 1 or 2 on that, then we're going to go to a D4. And then once you get to a 1 or 2 on that last die, then we're going to roll on this growing darkness table. So we're gonna roll our tension die. We got a 6, so we're still good, and we're going to do our layer check. Now, our layer check, what it is when you first start your domain, when you first create your domain in Ker Nethalas, what happens is you roll to see what type of overseer is inside of this domain. And then you roll to see what type of influence that overseer has. His minions had this type of alert influence where they got a plus 20 to their awareness. Now, once you enter a new room, every time you enter a new room, you do your layer check and your tension check. Your layer check is going to see whether you've actually found the overseer's domain. And it goes the same way as far as the die goes. The usage die, I got a 1 or 2. I think I got a 2 on it. So then I went down to the next one, which is a D10, and then it will go to the D8, and then so on until you get all the way down to the D4. Then you roll a 1 or 2. That's going to be the overseer's layer. The overseer's layer. So we did that one. Now we're going to do our layer check. And we got a 3, so we're still safe on that end. Next up, we're going to see if... Oh, we're going to exit out one of our light sources. So we're going to knock out one of our light sources on our character sheet because each light, again, lasts for 1 room. And I think we have 20. So the next thing we're going to do is see whether or not we're going to have an encounter. See whether or not we run into an encounter. So again, on a plus 10, we run into some sort of enemy. I got a 7, so there is no encounter. So boom, no encounter. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to check for an event. We're going to check for an event. Then we're going to roll a D100 on this events table. So we got a 51. Let's see what happens. Besides this creepy pool right here. So let's see, we got a 51. This room has been turned into a makeshift mausoleum, and it was relatively recently. At the center of this sarcophagus, covered with melted candles, has clearly been dragged here. If you choose to desecrate the tomb, you lose 1 sanity, but can make a roll on the spoils table. If you choose to take a moment and say a quick prayer for whoever is buried here, you regain D4 sanity. So I'm going to do the sanity. So I'm going to take that negative, I'm going to take that 1 sanity, and I'm going to roll on the spoils. So we're going to roll a D6. So we got a 4, and we roll on the valuable items table. So we're going to roll a D20, which is right here, valuable items. Let's see, I'll roll a black one, and I got a 2, and a random potion. So we're going to roll on the random potions. So now we're going to roll a D20 on the potions. 17, we got speed. So grants you 1 free action. And I'm not exactly sure how potions work, seeing though they may have been here for quite some time. We'll look that up. I desecrated this tomb right here. Now I get to do a scavenge check. And my scavenge again is going to be, my scavenge is a 20. I'm going to do a scavenge check. And as long as I don't fumble, which I think means get a double, then I'm good, even if I fail. So I got a 64, so I find absolutely nothing. I'm going to exit that way. I'm going to roll a D20, and remember on a 12 plus, the door is going to be locked. So the door is not locked, so I'm able to enter. I'm going to roll to see whether or not I run into a corridor or a room. So we've entered a room, a 26 to 100. And let's see what our room looks like. Well, it's going to be an interesting looking room. And actually, we're going to pause there. So I'm going to write this right here so I can remember. So we got a 61. That's what our room is going to look like. And then we'll pick it back up in the next session. So I hope you enjoyed the Ker Nethalas playthrough. Stay tuned for more adventures with Coach Key. As always, don't forget to make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you comment and make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of the cool content that I post on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm also currently going live on Sundays and Mondays. So definitely come in. So come and chat. And I hope you have a super fantastically awesome rest of your Friday. As this video is airing, I will be watching the third season of Blood of Zeus on Netflix. I love a good anime show, so drop your favorites in the comments. And I hope you guys have a super fantastically awesome rest of your Friday as well as an awesome weekend. And I'll see you guys back here same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, unless you come and hang out with me on live. Okay? And